The distress signal pierced through the void of space, breaking the silence aboard the Galactic Federation starship Luminous Dawn. Lieutenant Commander Taylor Chen's eyes widened as she studied the readouts flooding her command console. This wasn't a routine encounter with some lost merchant vessel or damaged scout ship. No, this was something far more troubling. "Captain Reeves," she called out, her voice steady despite the adrenaline coursing through her veins. "You need to see this." Captain Alex Reeves strode across the bridge, the blue glow of holographic displays casting sharp shadows across his weathered face. 20 years of patrolling the outer systems had taught him to trust Chen's instincts. "Talk to me, Lieutenant Commander," he said, leaning over her station. "Unknown warship detected at the edge of the Epsilon sector. Configuration matches nothing in our database, but weapon systems are definitely active and locked onto the settlement on Proxima IV." The bridge fell silent. Humanity was supposed to be contained to their solar system, restricted by the Galactic Accord of 2387 after the Mars Colony Rebellion. Their technological advancement had been deemed too unpredictable, too dangerous. Yet here they were, somehow beyond the quarantine zone. "Impossible," muttered Navigation Officer Patel. "The Sol system blockade has been impenetrable for 60 years. The main view screen flickered to life, revealing a sleek vessel of unfamiliar design. Its hull gleamed with a metallic sheen that seemed to absorb rather than reflect the distant starlight. Weapon ports lined its flanks, and energy readings suggested propulsion technology far beyond what humanity should possess. "They're hailing us," communications specialist Dawson announced, her fingers dancing across her console. "Audio only." "Put it through," Reeves ordered, squaring his shoulders. A voice crackled through the bridge speakers, distinctly human but carrying an edge of steel that sent chills down the crew's spines. "This is Commander Jackson of the TSV Defiance. You are in violation of sovereign human space. Withdraw immediately or face the consequences." Captain Reeves exchanged glances with his first officer. Human space. Here. The settlement on Proxima IV had been established centuries before humans had even achieved faster-than-light travel. "Open a channel," Reeves instructed, his mind racing. "Commander Jackson, this is Captain Alex Reeves of the Galactic Federation vessel Luminous Dawn. There must be some misunderstanding. Proxima IV is a Federation protectorate, established long before." "There is no misunderstanding," Jackson interrupted, his voice cold. "The Federation's days of containing humanity are over. We've watched your kind exploit worlds across this sector while keeping us imprisoned in our own system. No more." The energy readings from the human vessel suddenly spiked. "Captain," Chen shouted, "they're powering up weapon systems." "Shields up," Reeves commanded, but before the order could be carried out, a blinding beam of energy lanced out from the human warship, striking not the Luminous Dawn, but the Federation monitoring station orbiting Proxima IV. The station erupted in a ball of flame, scattering debris across the planet's upper atmosphere. "By the stars," whispered Dawson, her face pale in the emergency lighting that had automatically engaged. As the crew watched in horror, hundreds of smaller craft began to emerge from the human warship, their trajectory aimed directly at the settlement below. The impossible had happened. Humanity had not only broken free, they had come back with vengeance. "All hands to battle stations." Captain Reeves' voice boomed through the intercom as warning klaxons blared across the Luminous Dawn. "Lieutenant Walker, I need options." The ship's tactical officer, Zach Walker, a veteran of the Orion conflicts, worked frantically at his console. "The human vessel outguns us 3-1, Captain. Their tech, it's not possible. They've made advances that should have taken them centuries." Meanwhile, Lieutenant Commander Chen had pulled up the historical archives. "Captain, the Defiance isn't in any Federation registry. There's no record of humans building ships of this class." "Then where the hell did it come from?" Reeves demanded, his knuckles white, as he gripped the command chair. On the view screen, the smaller craft, dropships by the look of them, continued their descent toward Proxima IV. The settlement there housed over 30,000 civilians, mostly scientists and their families, studying the planet's unique biodiversity. We can't let them reach the surface, Reeves decided. Helm, position us between those dropships and the planet. Communications, broadcast on all emergency channels, warn the settlement. As the luminous dawn maneuvered into position, the history of humanity's contentious relationship with the Galactic Federation weighed heavily on everyone's mind. 60 years ago, the Federation had discovered Earth just as humans were taking their first steps into interplanetary colonization. The Mars Colony Rebellion had quickly followed. A brutal conflict triggered when Federation peacekeepers attempted to regulate human expansion. The result had been the Quarantine Accord, essentially boxing humanity into their solar system until they matured enough to join galactic society. Many on the bridge had studied this history, but none had ever expected to face the consequences firsthand. "Sir," Officer Patel said, her voice tense, "I'm detecting quantum slipstream signatures. More human ships incoming." Before Reeves could respond, the communication system crackled again. "Captain Reeves." Commander Jackson's voice returned, "I'll give you one chance to save your crew. The Federation has lied to you. For decades, they've harvested human colonies outside Sol, erasing all evidence. We're not escaping containment. We're reclaiming what was stolen." First Officer Rivera leaned toward Reeves. "He's trying to confuse us, sir. There's no record off." "Lying to your own people, Rivera." Jackson interrupted, somehow aware of their internal communications. "Ask your captain about Protocol Black Echo. Ask about the classified settlements." Reeves felt the eyes of his bridge crew on him. "This is Federation propaganda, Captain," Rivera insisted, but doubt had crept into her voice. "Incoming," Walker shouted. The luminous dawn shuddered as a warning shot from the Defiance passed just off their starboard bow, a demonstration of precision that left no doubt about the human ship's targeting capabilities. "Captain," Chen called out, her face ashen as she stared at her console, "I've accessed the sealed files. There's a partial declassification triggered by this encounter." She transferred the data to Reeves' personal display. The captain's expression darkened as he read, his hands trembling slightly. "Sir?" Rivera questioned. "The dropships aren't attacking the settlement," Reeves said quietly. "They're evacuating it." On the view screen, they could now see the smaller craft landing in formation around the settlement's perimeter. No weapons fire. Instead, civilians were boarding in orderly lines. But why would they? "Because those aren't Federation citizens down there," Reeves interrupted, his voice hollow. "According to these files, they're human. A genetics research outpost, established in secret 80 years ago. The Federation has been experimenting." The bridge fell silent as the implications sank in. A new alert blared. 5 more human warships had emerged from slip space, surrounding the luminous dawn. "What are your orders, Captain?" Walker asked, his finger hovering over the weapons controls. Reeves stared at the screen, the weight of history and lies pressing down on him. "I don't know anymore." "Captain, we're being hailed again," Dawson reported, breaking the tense silence that had fallen over the bridge. "It's the Defiance." Reeves took a deep breath, steadying himself. On screen. This time, a visual connection opened, revealing Commander Jackson for the first time. He was younger than Reeves had expected, perhaps in his mid-30s, with close-cropped dark hair and eyes that held both determination and exhaustion. Behind him stood a woman in what appeared to be a science officer's uniform, her expression grim. "Captain Reeves," Jackson acknowledged with a curt nod. "I see you've accessed the files. Now you understand why we're here." "I've seen fragments," Reeves replied cautiously, "but I need more than partial declassifications before I stand down." The woman beside Jackson stepped forward. "My name is Dr. Eliza Winters. For 15 years, I was the lead geneticist at what the Federation called Research Station Epsilon. What they didn't tell me was that my test subjects were my own people." Her voice cracked slightly. When I discovered the truth 6 months ago, I made contact with the resistance. First Officer Rivera moved closer to Reeves. Captain, this could still be an elaborate deception. Federation intelligence has warned about human psychological warfare tactics. On the lower decks of the Luminous Dawn, Engineering Chief Tanner Rhodes was having his own crisis. As alerts blared around him, he stared at his private terminal where he pulled up his father's service record, one that included a classified deployment to containment enforcement around Earth 60 years ago. "Chief, we need those shield modifications now," his assistant called out. Rhodes snapped back to the present, but his mind was racing with fragments of stories his father had shared after too many drinks, stories about necessary measures and regrettable actions. Back on the bridge, Captain Reeves had made a decision. "Commander Jackson, I'm willing to send a small team to the surface to verify your claims. If what you say is true, we need to understand the full scope of this situation." Jackson's expression hardened. "We don't have time for that, Captain. Federation reinforcements will arrive within hours. These people need to be evacuated now." He gestured to Dr. Winters. "Show him." Dr. Winters activated something off-screen, and new data flooded onto the Luminous Dawn's displays. Medical files, genetic experiments, breeding programs. Generations of humans raised in controlled environments, their DNA modified in subtle ways. "My God," Chen whispered as she sifted through the data. "These modifications, they're designed to enhance psychic sensitivity. They'd been trying to breed telepaths." Reeves felt the blood drain from his face. The Federation's official stance on psychic abilities had always been dismissive, claiming they were myths or exaggerations. Yet here was evidence of a decades-long program to cultivate these abilities in humans. "That's why they can intercept our communications," Walker realized. "Some of them can literally read our thoughts." In the evacuation ships, a young woman named Ava Pearson sat quietly amid the chaos of boarding civilians. Unlike the frightened people around her, she remained eerily calm, her eyes closed as she sorted through the flood of thoughts from the Federation vessel above. Most were confused, frightened, or suspicious, but one mind stood out. Someone who already knew some of the truth, someone with divided loyalties. "Captain," Chen said suddenly, "I found something else. According to these files, the experiments weren't just about psychic abilities. They were weaponizing them." On the view screen, Jackson's expression darkened. "Now you understand why we can't wait. When these people are safely aboard our ships, I'm authorized to share the rest of what we know. But first..." An alarm blared across both ships. Officer Patel's hands flew across her console. Multiple ships dropping out of FTL. Federation signatures. "Admiral Zhou's battle group," Rivera confirmed. "They must have been nearby." Jackson cursed. "We're out of time." He turned to someone off-screen. "Accelerate the evacuation. All combat teams, prepare for defensive positions." To Reeves he said, "You have a choice to make, Captain. Right now." The incoming Federation ships were already broadcasting orders. "Human vessels, power down immediately. Luminous Dawn, report status." On the engineering deck, Rhodes had come to his own decision. He quickly typed a message and sent it to his brother on the Federation support vessel Horizon, attached to Admiral Zhou's fleet. "The humans are telling the truth. Father was part of it." Back on the bridge, Captain Reeves stood at the crossroads of history. Duty, truth, and morality pulled him in different directions. If Jackson was right, the Federation he'd served his entire life had been built on lies. If this was human deception, he'd be betraying everything he stood for. "Sir," Chen said quietly, "there's something else you should see." She transferred one final file to his console, a list of other secret research stations scattered across Federation space. "This isn't isolated. It's systematic." As the Federation battle group moved into attack formation, Reeves made his decision. He opened a channel to Admiral Zhou. "This is Captain Reeves of the Luminous Dawn. We have a situation that requires immediate diplomatic intervention. I am invoking Article 7 of the Charter." Article 7. The right of a Federation captain to demand investigation of potential violations of sentient rights. It would force a 24-hour stand-down before any military action could be taken. "Denied, Captain," came Admiral Zhou's immediate response. "Your vessel has been compromised. Stand down and prepare to be boarded." In that moment, Reeves knew. The speed of the denial, the refusal to even consider the possibility, it confirmed everything. At the tactical station, Walker looked up at his captain, awaiting orders as the Federation ships locked weapons on both the human vessels and the luminous Dawn itself. "Sir," Walker asked, his finger hovering over the shield controls. "They're targeting us too." Before Reeves could respond, Dr. Winter's voice cut through the tension. They always intended to silence anyone who learned the truth. "Shields up." Evasive maneuvers, Captain Reeves shouted as the first volley of Federation weapons fire streaked toward the luminous Dawn. The ship lurched violently as Lieutenant Podle executed a desperate defensive pattern. The shots from Admiral Zhou's flagship narrowly missed them, striking one of the smaller human evacuation vessels instead. The craft spun wildly, its engines flickering before emergency systems stabilized it. "They're targeting civilians." Chen's voice was incredulous, her hands trembling above her console. Commander Jackson's face on the view screen had hardened into cold determination. "This is what we've been trying to tell you, Captain. The Federation won't allow witnesses, human or otherwise." Walker's tactical display showed the grim reality of their situation. 5 Federation warships against the human flagship Defiance, 3 smaller human combat vessels, and several unarmed evacuation ships. The luminous Dawn was caught in the middle, outgunned, and suddenly labeled a traitor. "Captain," Rivera urged, "we can still explain our position. Zhou will listen." "No, he won't." Reeves cut her off, gesturing to the ongoing Federation attack on clearly marked evacuation vessels. "They're not here to investigate. They're here to clean up." In engineering, Rhodes had made his choice. "Divert auxiliary power to the forward shields," he ordered his team. "Position us between the evacuation ships and the Federation vessels." His second-in-command stared at him. "Chief, that's as good as declaring we've switched sides." Rhodes locked eyes with her. "There are children on those ships. If that puts us on the wrong side, then I never want to be right." As the luminous Dawn moved to shield the vulnerable human vessels, Admiral Zhou's voice thundered through the command channel. "Captain Reeves, this is your final warning. Stand down or be designated a hostile combatant." The bridge fell silent as everyone turned to their captain. Years of service, oaths of loyalty, and personal honor all hung in the balance against the horrifying evidence they'd uncovered. Reeves opened a ship-wide channel. "All hands, this is the captain speaking. I have served the Federation faithfully for 23 years, believing in its principles of justice and protection of sentient rights. Today, I have seen evidence that our leadership has violated those principles systematically and deliberately. I cannot in good conscience follow orders that would make us complicit in genocide. Anyone who wishes to register objection to my decision should report to the shuttle bay. You have 5 minutes to depart before we engage." He closed the channel and turned to his bridge crew. "I won't order any of you to follow me into this." Walker was the first to respond, his hands already preparing tactical systems. "With respect." Back aboard the luminous Dawn, an unexpected message appeared on Chen's console. "Captain, we're receiving encrypted data. It's coming from inside Admiral Zhou's flagship." "Someone's helping us?" Reeves asked incredulously. Chen's eyes widened as she decrypted the transmission. "It's from Commander Grant Hayes. He was my instructor at the Academy. He says there's a faction within Federation Command that's been trying to expose these experiments for years. They'd been systematically silenced or discredited." Walker looked up sharply. "That explains why Zhou moved so quickly to shut us down. This isn't just about keeping secrets from getting out. It's about preventing a full-scale civil war within the Federation." As if confirming his assessment, 2 of the Federation vessels suddenly broke formation, positioning themselves between Admiral Zhou's flagship and the luminous Dawn. "Incoming transmission," Dawson announced, surprise evident in her voice. The view screen shifted to show a stern-faced woman in a Federation captain's uniform. "This is Captain Diane Cole of the Horizon. We received information from your engineering chief. We've also had our suspicions for years. Count us among your allies, Reeves." Before anyone could respond, the bridge lights flickered. Throughout the ship, systems briefly faltered. "What was that?" Reeves demanded. Rhodes' voice came through the comm. "Some kind of targeted EMP, sir. It barely missed us, but it's affected some secondary systems. I think they're testing a weapon." On the human evacuation ships, panic was spreading. One of the vessels suddenly lost power completely, drifting helplessly between the opposing forces. Ava Pearson gasped aboard the Defiance, blood trickling from her nose as she maintained her psychic assault on Joe's crew. They're preparing something bigger. I can feel it. A weapon designed specifically against human neural patterns." Her voice shook. "It's what they developed us for, to create a weapon that would only target humans." Dr. Winter's face paled. "The Omega Protocol. That's what was in the sealed files I couldn't access." Commander Jackson turned to his communications officer. "Warn every human ship. Tell them to prepare for neural attack." The bridge of the luminous dawn erupted in chaos as multiple alerts sounded simultaneously. "Massive energy buildup from Zhao's flagship," Walker reported. "Captain Cole is hailing us," Dawson added. "She says we need to get away from Zhao's weapon range immediately." Chen looked up from her console, horror written across her face. "Captain, if these readings are correct, they're preparing to deploy a weapon that will target the specific neural patterns they engineered into these humans. It would be painless. They'd simply stop, like turning off a switch. The ultimate containment solution," Reeves said bitterly. "Harvest humans for their potential, modify them, study them, and if they ever escape, simply deactivate them remotely." Rhodes' voice came through again, urgent and breathless. "Captain, I think I can modify our deflector array to disrupt their targeting. But I need time." Outside, Admiral Zhao's flagship rotated slowly, a previously hidden weapon port opening on its underside to reveal a pulsing blue-white device that seemed to distort the space around it. "Everyone's evacuated except the last ship," Commander Jackson reported from the Defiance. "And it's the one that lost power. Ava can't hold them much longer." Captain Reeves stared at the tactical display, calculating rapidly. The luminous dawn was in position to intercept the weapon's firing arc, potentially saving the stranded evacuation ship, but at what cost to his own crew? Officer Patel turned from her station. "Captain, I've analyzed their targeting vector. They're not just aiming at the evacuation ship, they're positioning to hit everything, including the Defiance and potentially us." The space between the ships seemed to shimmer as the weapon on Zhao's flagship reached full power. 10 seconds to weapon discharge," Walker announced. Rhodes' voice came through one last time. "Captain, I need 2 more minutes." "We don't have 2 minutes," Reeves said quietly, making the hardest decision of his career. "All power to forward shields. Helm, intercept course." As the luminous dawn surged forward, placing itself directly in the weapon's path, Admiral Zhao's voice came through on an open channel, cold and precise. "Captain Reeves, move your vessel immediately. This is a Federation security operation." "No," Reeves replied simply. "This is where we find out what the Federation truly stands for." The weapon discharge, a rippling wave of energy unlike anything they'd ever seen before, surging toward them. The wave of energy struck the luminous dawn with devastating force. The ship shuddered violently, systems overloading in cascading failures as the shield struggled to absorb the impact. On the bridge, consoles exploded in showers of sparks, throwing crew members to the floor. Captain Reeves pulled himself back to his feet, blood trickling from a cut above his eye. "Status report." Walker checked his damaged tactical display. "Shields at 12%, weapons offline." "But sir, the evacuation ship is safe. The weapon's energy was completely absorbed by our shields. Before Reeves could respond, Chen called out urgently, "Captain, look at Zhao's flagship." On the view screen, they watched in astonishment as the Federation vessels under Captain Cole's command had moved into position, training their weapons on Admiral Zhao's ship. "This is Captain Cole to all Federation vessels." Her voice rang out on all channels. "Admiral Zhao has violated core Federation principles by authorizing genocide against sentient beings. As per Emergency Protocol 19, I am relieving him of command pending investigation." For a tense moment, the remaining Federation ships hovered in indecision. Then, one by one, they powered down their weapons. "We're being hailed," Dawson announced. "It's the Defiance." Commander Jackson appeared on screen, his expression a mixture of relief and wariness. "That was either the bravest or the stupidest thing I've ever seen, Captain Reeves." Reeves managed a weary smile. Sometimes the line between the two is thinner than we'd like to admit. Down in engineering, Rhodes worked frantically to stabilize the ship's critical systems. His console beeped with an incoming message from his brother aboard the horizon. "You were right. Father's personal logs confirm everything. I've transmitted them to Federation Council headquarters. This ends today." "The last evacuation ship has power restored," Chen reported. "All civilians are now safely aboard human vessels." "Captain," First Officer Rivera approached Reeves, her face solemn. "I was wrong. I wanted to believe in the Federation I swore to protect. But not at this cost. What happens now?" As if in answer to her question, Dr. Winters appeared on screen beside Jackson. "Captain Reeves, I've transmitted all research data on the human experiments to your ship and to Captain Cole. There are 19 other research stations like Proxima IV. Those people need to be freed too." The implications were staggering. Not just one isolated incident, but a systematic program of human exploitation across Federation space. "We'll need to form a coalition," Reeves said, looking at the faces around him, human and Federation alike. "This isn't just about humans anymore. This is about holding the Federation to its founding principles." On the Defiance, Ava Pearson closed her eyes, reaching out with her mind to touch the consciousness of every being involved in the conflict. For the first time, she sensed not fear or hostility, but something far more powerful: hope. "We're receiving transmissions from ships across 3 sectors," Dawson reported with growing excitement. "They've been monitoring our communications. Federation captains are demanding answers from command. It's spreading." Commander Jackson nodded gravely. "The truth has a way of doing that." He straightened, his demeanor shifting from military commander to diplomat. "Captain Reeves, on behalf of Earth and her colonies, I formally request negotiations for the immediate end of the human quarantine and the establishment of a joint investigation into these abuses." The bridge of the luminous dawn fell silent as everyone turned to Reeves. In this moment, history waited on his response. "Commander Jackson," Reeves said, his voice steady and clear, "the Federation I believe in would accept nothing less. Let's build a better future, together." As repair crews worked around them and the adrenaline of battle faded, the crew of the Luminous Dawn found themselves at the dawn of something new. Not the end of a conflict, but the beginning of reconciliation. Captain Reeves looked out at the stars beyond the view screen, the same stars that had witnessed humanity's confinement and would now witness their return. Sometimes, he reflected, the most heavily armed and hostile ships were the ones carrying the most desperate hope for peace.